There's a secret problem that might be hiding in your credit report, and almost no one is talking about it. I'm going to tell you what it is, how to spot it, and what to do about it. And at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you how handling this problem properly might mean a six-figure check to you from the credit bureaus who messed this thing up in the first place. My name is Michael Waslick. I'm one of the lawyers at Ricardo & Waslick here in Florida. Together with my partner, Jason Ricardo, when debt collectors give you hell, we help you give it back. So let's jump right in and talk about this secret credit report problem. If you pull your credit report like we recommend and you see that there's something on your report that doesn't make sense, that doesn't look like it's your debt, you might be the victim of what's called a mixed file. What is a mixed file? It's when the credit bureaus, due to their loose data matching standards, mix two people's information into one credit report file, which means that your file has someone else's information and your information might be in someone else's file. There's two reasons this is a problem. First of all, your private information is likely being leaked to someone else who has no right to view it. And secondly, your credit might be taking a hit from someone else's bad decisions, even though they have nothing to do with your creditworthiness. So how do these happen? Well, there's a couple different ways. First of all, if you have a common name or a name that's shared by other people in your area, it's very likely that your credit could be confused with theirs. For example, there's more than one Mike Waslick in Florida. There are three I know about, and one of them has no relation to me whatsoever. The other one's my father, and even though we have different middle names, we have the same middle initial, which makes it very easy for credit bureaus to mix us up. And it has happened. The other way it can happen is if you happen to share a date of birth or an address or even have a similar social security number to someone else who might fit your general profile. The social security number doesn't have to be that close because the data matching systems that bureaus use only requires 7 of the 9 digits to be the same in order for them to consider you a possible match. Another situation is that family members who used to live in the same place can often have their credit files confused. I'll tell you the story of John and Dave, two brothers whose credit files got mixed. They grew up together in the same house, and the credit bureaus, for whatever reason, mixed the two of them up. Now, John had good credit, Dave not so much. More of a scratch and dent situation with Dave. So when the bureaus mixed their two files together, reporting some of John's information in Dave's report and some of Dave's information in John's report, it caused a lot of trouble. John was frustrated because Dave's negative information was holding him back from getting credit, and when he looked into it, he found Dave's information, and then Dave was embarrassed because Dave's negative information was exposed to John, even though it wasn't really John's right to see it. And when the brothers figured out what happened, it caused tension between the two of them, damaging their relationship above and beyond the financial harm that John suffered and the personal embarrassment that Dave suffered as a result of the improper disclosures and mixing of the information. So how can you tell if you've got a mixed file situation? Well, the most important thing is to periodically review your credit reports and make sure you understand what information is supposed to be on there and what's not. Know which accounts are the ones that you applied for, received, and have maintained. If you see something there that doesn't belong there, it likely belongs to someone else. At the same time, if you hear from a family member that there's information on their credit report that doesn't belong there, and you figure out that it's probably yours, then you almost certainly have been the victim of a mixed file disclosure. If you don't know how to check your credit report, I want to put a link in the description below for a video we've done on how you can pull and review your credit reports once a week for free from all 3 major credit bureaus. So if you believe you've been the victim of a mixed file situation, how do you fix it? Well, there's 2 options that you have. The first option is you can write a dispute letter to each of the 3 credit bureaus that have that mixed file information in your file. You can explain to them this particular account or accounts doesn't belong to you, that it seems to be a mixed file situation. If you know who the mixed file is with, you can identify that information, and you can ask them to investigate and remove the incorrect information that doesn't apply to you. And if you watch all the way through, I'll tell you how to get a sample letter that you can use as a template to challenge any mixed file situation that's cropped up. Now, this is a different letter than the dispute letters to debt collectors, so you want to make sure that you're using the right letter for the right purpose. The second option you have is to skip the dispute letter and go directly to a lawsuit if you already know that your information has been disclosed in someone else's credit report. Now, this second option, the direct lawsuit, may be more appealing to you if there's 2 things that apply. First of all, you yourself haven't been denied credit, so you don't have any direct financial damages that you've experienced. And second, you want to fix the problem as quickly as possible without having to wait for the dispute cycle to run its course. So to pull in the example from John and Dave, who wasn't applying for credit but had the worst credit, and his information was leaked to his brother, he might opt for a direct lawsuit to recoup the damages that he suffered. John, who had incorrect information on his report from his brother, would have to dispute first before he would be able to challenge the sufficiency of their reinvestigation. And that's just because of a wrinkle in the credit reporting laws that allow certain types of claims. But if you have an error on your report, you can't sue unless you first dispute the mistake, because it's the reinvestigation and the failure to properly reinvestigate that gives you the right to sue. But that dispute requirement doesn't apply if your privacy has been invaded and your private information has been wrongly disclosed to someone else. So if your information has been leaked to someone else as part of a mixed file scenario, that invasion of your privacy can lead to damages that would result in that six-figure check I was talking about earlier. If you go for the direct lawsuit option, you'll definitely want to bring a lawyer onto your team who handles this type of claim. Now, if you need to send a dispute letter to a credit bureau, check the link in the description below. But if your dispute is not with a credit bureau, but is instead with a debt collector, here's what you should do next. Now, sometimes the wrong information doesn't come from the credit bureaus themselves, but instead comes from a debt collector. And if you need to dispute a debt directly with a debt collector or a collections agency, you're going to want to watch the video I'm putting on screen now. It tells you about how to do that. If you think you've got a mixed file or other problems with your credit report, go ahead and tell us in the comments below. So thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.